sociology, proper pimping. She don't love that deer. So, anyways, as I speak on my Instagram channel, as I speak on my OmoneyRecords YouTube, these little differences of the facts of life, of the birds and the bees, and the flowers and the trees. You know, what ends up happening, whether it's a orange porridge 4-inch door hinge because it's blazed out, or if it's just a sprinkler leak and she don't love that deer, which sounds absolutely crazy when I say it in those weird ways, to actually getting to the point of this. Because here's what happens with Lil Wayne and Drake over Nicki Minaj. Here's what happens with Owen and Eminem for Samantha, or Owen and Lil Wayne for Samantha. Cut the music up, fella. Had a lot of crooks try to steal your car, try to figure it out. I didn't really know all of his lyrics. Or whatever it is. You have two men in spar. You got Drake, and you have Lil Wayne, and you have Riri. And what Riri's doing is she's propping it up. She's propping it up. She says, you can have it if you want it. My name's Nicki Minaj. My name's Riri. My name's Samantha. You got $2. He's got antlers. He's got antlers. This is Rudolph. You see his little red nose there? You have the one without the red nose, and you don't know who Rudolph really is. Is it the one that lights up the sky, or is it just normal, Dancer and Prancer and Comet and Vixen? And so, in these weird little ways, you have a spar, okay? And what normal bucks do during the year, you have rappers, they have diss tracks. Rappers have diss tracks. And then you have courtships. And what deer do, a buck, he goes and he rubs his antlers on a tree and he leaves his antler mark. And then what he does is he puts his antlers, in the leaves and dingles them in the leaves. And he scrapes and he scrapes and he scrapes and he scrapes. They call it a scrape. And what he ends up doing then is he pisses in it and he leaves his urine on his glands, and his glands are in the back of his legs. All right, so he's making poetry. He's writing a song, and he makes really potent lyrics. He pees, he makes potent lyrics, and then he prepares himself as she prepares herself. And he's walking around the path, and he's got about a square 5-mile radius. Wisconsin, LA, Compton, Detroit. Detroit what? Detroit, baby. So here's Eminem saying, Detroit what? Detroit, baby. I said, all right. And Samantha's out here, or Riri, or whoever's saying, I'm Samantha, I got Seattle. I'm poop fart, poop, poop, poop. I'm Nicki Minaj, I got poop, poop, poop. And so, as the one buck's walking around, making a scrape, playing with his antlers in the trees, peeing, what the girl does is she follows. Ooh, he wrote me a love song. Sure, I'll pee in it. My name's Haley Luan. I'll pee in it. This is Eric Trump. I'll pee in it. We'll figure out how this goes. And this guy's out running around, and he's in a different square mile. So if his square mile is here, okay, we'll do it like halfway. Okay, we'll call that his square mile. And then his square mile just barely overlaps it, because there's square miles, but you never know where it happens. And when it overlaps, what ends up happening? When it overlaps, they cross into each other's territory a little bit, and they spar. They hit their antlers together. They fight for the doe. And all she does is say, ha ha, I'm teasing you. Here's my titties. Here's my pussy pictures. I'm teasing you. And she runs to the next scrape. She smells it. Here's my titty pictures. Here's my pussy pictures. Ha ha, I'm teasing you. And here's what a trifling ass bitch does. She just teased both them. She just teased both them motherfuckers. She just teased both them motherfuckers. And we're sitting here laughing. Nicki Minaj, what the hell are you doing wearing pasties? She said, wiggle, 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 wiggle with her little jiggly titties. I was like, all right, woo out the band, woo, 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 pull out that credit card, woo, 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 you know what I'm saying? So everybody's sitting there saying, what the hell is Nicki Minaj showing her titties? What's Riri doing? And work, work, work with Drake. Work, 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 work. Here's Drake laughing. This is Drake sitting on the couch back there, laughing his ass up. Work, 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 work. Wanna send me do it? Work, 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 work. And then we go to Wild Thoughts. And you got DJ Khaled over here. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. And so she's teasing them both, running around. Ah, here's my titties. Here's my pussy pictures. Give me money. And she runs off. She goes over here and she pees in a scrape. She goes, ah, here's my titty. Here's my pussy pictures. Ha, I'm running off. And what ended up happening, I think, is why Rah Rah passed away or whatever else is. The $2 came in and he says, I smell Riri. I smell Nicki Minaj. I smell Samantha. And this buck came in and he says, these are my scrapes. I smell Nicki Minaj. I smell Riri. I smell Samantha. Now the trifling ass bitches are all hanging out together just watching. And the bucks got into a spar over jealousy. I'm sitting here, God damn it, boys, why are we fighting each other? She is such a fucking trifling bitch. She peed in his scrape and she peed in his scrape. She was teasing everybody. She's like, look at my titty pictures. Look at these pussy pictures. And that's what ended up happening. Okay, and so it's called a spar. And I think women, oddly enough, are a lot more like deer in sociology and psychology. When you ask a girl to be in a music video, whether it's Jessica DeLuge or Samantha or Ashley Wilhelm or whoever you decide it to be, and I'm sorry for name dropping, but at the same time, it ends up being this funny part of, well, they don't want to show off in a music video with Drake, because once they're in a music video with Drake, if your name's Bobby over here, what ends up happening is Bobby says, you know what, I love you. And we got poor lonely Rudolph over here with his little red nose, because he's got a red nose. There's DJ Khaled because he's a little bit obese, gained a little weight, has a red nose. Okay, I feel bad for you. I'll go over here. You become a trifling ass bitch. What trifling is, right? And it's take it for a grain of salt. In one ear, out the other. Am I calling people out? Am I actually name dropping to make this some bad scenario? No, 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 no. I'm just saying, one of them asked for the music video. And some of these girls don't want to be in a music video. She says, I'm too shy. I don't like Rudolph. Rudolph likes to shine. He flies up and around and he lands down and he just flew for the first time. You know what Clarice ended up saying? I think you're cute. She said, Rudolph says, she thinks I'm cute. Okay, if you watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you start to figure out what the spar is and everything else. And this is what happens on the farm more often. You got Owen Yule, a gay man with a fucking heterosexual man, whatever you want to call me, because I am whatever you say I am, with a red nose. I like to light up the atmosphere. I hop on the stage and I light that bitch up with my nose. And you got Casey Davenport over here. Well, I'm your employer. I'm your employer. I'm not going to give you your unemployment because you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen is that doe that's over here staring over at Rudolph, she might fucking be ready for that courtship because I'm up on stage. And when that employer says, I can use your or my employee power to hold back your money, okay? You can't have your unemployment because she is preparing herself for your money. Breed me. Get $400,000 together, okay? And so this is what happens. And so the bucks spar, and you got good and evil. He just wants to perform, dance around, as they call a gay man, even though he's heterosexual. Rudolph still loves to smell Clarice. He still wants to mount Clarice, but for some reason he's got a red nose. This is the embarrassing. Oh, why don't you just put some mud on it? Okay. All right, DJ Khaled, why don't you run on a treadmill and lose some weight? Drake's sitting over here figuring out what the hell's going on. Is it DJ Khaled that gets review, or is it Drake? Is it work, or is it wild, wild, wild? You never figure it out. And here's Clarice sitting there. Well, I'm just gonna leave my ass in the air, and you guys got to fight about it. And I think women are a lot more like deer. And here's the thing about seasonal, into the different aspect. Here's the year Rudolph runs around his square mile, and he scrapes and he pisses, and then he rubs his antler on a tree, and then he scrapes and he pisses, and he scrapes and he pisses. And so, if he's lucky, this is where his square mile leads to, this is where his square mile leads to. They never cross. And now it's up to the doe. It depends on where she smells the scent first. Some years, it always ends up just being, all right, well, Rudolph gets to mate with her this year. And she breeds with a deer. And here's the thing about deer versus wolves and cranes. I think wolves pair for life. I think ducks pair for life. I think cranes pair for life. They never change their partner. Here's the thing about women and marriage and divorce and stuff like that in the human race. And again, we try our best to be a wolf. We try our best to be a crane, where you pair. You pair with your partner, with your spouse, the rest of your life. And it's a tough thing. And this is the difference of possessiveness, okay, and pimping and street side talks of who owes who drug money and whatever else. Well, if you got one that's a heroin addict and owes a specific drug dealer money, she can't leave. She can't go be with Rudolph. And this is the possessiveness, which again goes back and forth. But some years, the doe ends up just mating with Rudolph. The very next year, we get to the same square mile, and as long as they don't get shot during hunting season, as long as they don't get killed, the doe ends up smelling this scrape, and she runs around, and he scrapes, pisses, plays with his antlers, scrapes, pisses, plays with his antlers. Now this year, so we have over here was 2025. They were together. They were together. Okay, male and female. You get to 2026, she changes over, and she's not with Rudolph anymore. Now she's with Blitzen. Okay, and if you let them go, if you let your girls go, you end up figuring it out. You end up figuring out both men, Rudolph and Blitzen, ends up being able to take a chance with that doe. Okay, but they both need money. He needs the money, and he needs the money. And this is what unemployment's for. What ends up happening in possessiveness is these employers, they end up keeping the money from unemployment. They end up keeping it. Because he says, you know what? As long as Rudolph never has the money, he turns over, he turns his head to the side, and he goes, what? I can't have my unemployment? I'll never win the girl that way. And this guy's saying, honey, Miss Clarice, he turns his head, do you see how jealous this asshole is? I'm keeping his unemployment right now because I want to use his unemployment on you. That way I get to breed you. And that's possessiveness. And he goes against the law to use Rudolph's money on her, and she thinks he's richer. But that's not the truth. And at the same time, every year she leaves. And this is where I laugh, because it doesn't matter how much money you steal from me. Sometimes your doe comes over to me and she goes, God, he was being an arrogant dickhead. I can't believe he's kept your money. He spent it all on me. He spent $50,000 on roses for me. And I look at her and I said, well, he owes me $95,000. And he spent 50 of my money on you? All right, interesting. Go back over there. He won you. And this is the Notebook story. Anybody seen the Notebook? You got Lon versus Noah. Is it Noah Rudolph? Isn't Lon the rich employer that keeps your unemployment? Anyways, either way, it doesn't matter. And girls know this reality. But settling down, getting married, to spar while she's sitting there available on the $2 end up sparring at each other. And they stare at each other and they start fighting. Girls don't really care that we fight, and they laugh. And gay men laugh. They don't care we fight. They don't care he fights for the girl. Look at that. Okay. And what ends up happening is it doesn't matter who's in power. Okay. Billie Eilish said it years ago before COVID. Try not to abuse your power. Right. Women appreciate power, and the power is the power of the pussy on a pedestal. That's all it is. It's just the power of the pussy on a pedestal. And in the end, she laughs. She goes, "Some days I want to be spoiled with $50,000 worth of roses. Other days, she looks over at this guy and she says, you know what? I think I'm fine with 12 roses. And that's only what, $139 versus 50,000 in roses. So it doesn't matter. Every year, we call it seasonal. We call it seasonal relationship. Deer move like that, where they get to change the spouse every year. Sometimes it'll be 2 years in a row. Sometimes it'll be one, and she fucking dies, and you only get to breed her once. Now, how it's going is the girl teases both men, and one of the men kills the other one, financially or street side, so he can never have the girl. That's possessiveness, and this is why women appreciate power. She says, you know what? I was willing to let both of y'all smash. But you got to stop fighting about the money. Because at the end of the day, like I said, this is plastic. I can set the case down. This is a gallon of milk. It's a cup. And whatever's inside the cup, milk, wine, or water, it still stays the same. And what protects the milk, wine, or water, this is milk, wine, and water, inside the cup. The case, the cup, protects it. Whether it's on plastic, granite, glass, floor, metal, it doesn't matter where you set the milk, the wine, or the water, because it's inside the cup. And as long as you cover it, flies won't get in it, bees won't get in it, etc. This is what women know. This is the forbidden knowledge. It doesn't matter what you put in your cup. If it's milk, wine, or water. I got milk, wine, water, MGD, Bud Light, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Modelo. I got a lot of things in the cup. It doesn't matter if I set it on a granite countertop, a laminated countertop, a marble countertop, or throw it on the damn floor. Whatever's inside the cup, when I drink it, if it's milk, wine, or water, it's going to remain milk, wine, or water. And so in these spars, the men, where the women are getting pissed off, is the men that kill. The women feel possessed over it. And when Blitzen kills Rudolph, takes him out the picture, she gets stuck with him forever. Okay, and here's the thing about deer. This is the tough thing about the spar. Is, sometimes Rudolph isn't there in the picture anymore. And it happens. It ends up becoming a possessiveness. That's all the women were fighting for, okay? When they said women appreciate power or try not to abuse your power, it's pay the damn unemployment. Go through with following the law. Because each deer deserves. Now, who's the jealous one? The one that keeps the money and says, why would you want to fuck with Rudolph for free? I kept his unemployment on purpose so I could spoil you with $50,000 in roses. A rose is a rose. Okay? It doesn't matter in that weird way. This is where women go street side or end up becoming heroin addicts or cocaine addicts, and they leave because they get pissed off. Well, why'd you kill Rudolph? Blitzen goes over, he stabs him with his antlers, and Rudolph's dead. This is why women just got pissed off. And as soon as they were saying women appreciate power and try not to abuse your power, a spar got created. And Rudolph died. There's Rah-Rah, there's Aaron Carter, there's Chester Bennington, there's Jason David Frank. And for some reason, somebody's going out and creating these scenarios, okay? And the women right now, if you see Ashley Benson's face, Grande's face, Miley's face, everything else, they're depressed as hell. Mo just lost her career, everything else. I was polite right before the spar happened, before I got killed in the street side. I said, hey, I'll politely leave. I took off and I flew away. I says, I'll politely leave. I don't want to die today. Does that make me scared? No, I says, I'm smart enough to live another day. And I had to run away. Does that make me scared, or you stand up and you go into the spar? The problem is with some people in society with guns and police officers and everything else is you end up losing. And that's okay too. Like I said, he kept my unemployment. He kept my unemployment. He's got a gallon of milk. He's got MGD. He's got Modelo. He's got wine. He's got everything. And he has my unemployment. He's got every drink she could possibly want, heroin, cocaine, all this other shit. He's got it all. That's a $50 million house in Beverly Hills that he sets his milk, wine, water on granite, marble, and shows off. And whatever's in that cup stays the same. And you know what Rudolph figured out? Because he has a cup. You know what he figured out? He's got Modelo, milk, wine, and water. He's got milk, wine, and water. And he only has $100 to his name. You know what she says? Well, if you had milk, wine, or water in a cup, I'll stay here. And she goes over to Rudolph. She says, what do you got? And he says, I got milk, wine, and water. I only spent $100,000 on my house. And so what Rudolph did is he says, hey, T-Rone, hey, Birdman, hey, Kevin Gates, everybody, I'm going to share my cup with you. Here's a feature. I'm going to give you guys some milk, wine, and water. You know what ended up happening? I says, well, I don't have any milk, wine, or water. I'm polite enough. I says, I just gave those guys milk, wine, and water. So if you guys want to go over there, go ahead. And that's pretty much it. The humble one didn't have to kill. Still gave you your raise for milk, wine, and water, and doesn't hold it back from you. To find that one being jealous. Why was Rudolph jealous or not jealous? That's the story, right? I love to hear those answers. Love to hear those answers. So anyways, she's sitting there propped up. Work, 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 work. And that's it.